Hello everyone, welcome to my vlog. So it's Friday morning and of course it's a time for another vlog. So I had a really busy week and a couple days ago I was invited to actually be speaker at there's called Fashion and Portrait Photography Seminar, and it was organized by a local organization which invites some of the amazing photographers who actually came to Calgary to share their knowledge, to share their passion about photography. And I was lucky enough, and I was also extremely honored to I was asked to do a little bit of presentation on cinematic headshot photography, which was extremely cool, and I could share some of the stuff what I do and actually just present it to a lot of people, the entire concept behind just the headshot photography, but the cinematic actually approach to it. And as I said, that was really big honor to me that I was even included among those amazing photographers. So for the last few days I was actually just watching these guys and listening what they have to say. And that was amazing experience. Hearing some of the feedback from people who achieve really high level of photography, people who are extremely successful, and hearing kind of their input on the industry and what they do, I found was extremely valuable for me. But at the same time, this entire seminar kind of get me thinking about photography itself. What does it take to become great photographer? What do we need to do in order to achieve this high level of success and high level of good quality of work? Because as you guys probably know, and this is something what I've been kind of debating, that we have access to equipment, we have access to knowledge, we have access to so many different things, but there's only a small group of people who really kind of get to the level where we can really see okay, these people are extremely successful and they know exactly what they're doing. And that seminar kind of put me on the spot where I actually started really deeply analyzing this whole thing. And I just want to share with you guys my feedback, and just want to share with you guys some of my thoughts. I don't know if that's going to be interesting, but I think it's something which kind of hit me recently, and I would love to share that with you, because I think I'm up to something interesting, but still I think this whole thing is molding, and I just want to kind of let this out and tell you about it. So as I said before, I was really analyzing what it takes to become good photographer. And on one of those days I had chance to chat one-on-one with one of those guys who came from United States. His name is Eric, and he's amazing photographer. If you guys dive into his work, it's extraordinary. The stuff what this guy is coming up with, it's beyond belief. Some of the portraits he's creating is something which I cannot personally wrap my head around it. They're phenomenal, and I highly recommend. I'll link his website, and you guys can kind of look what he's doing. And the funny part, we started having our conversation in the washroom, which is kind of weird place to have conversation like that. But for whatever reason, we start chatting, and the conversation got really interesting. The guy was sharing with me all the information, entire process of creating his work. He was just so open, and he was just so, I would say, interested, and also was kind of amazingly open about everything what he's doing, which I was just blown away. And that really kind of make me think that these people, they have completely different way of looking at photography. They actually just do the work completely different way. And I started really kind of pushing my thoughts back and forth, and what I realized that we can have, as I said, all those ingredients such as good equipment, good lighting, all the knowledge and all this stuff, but I think what these guys who achieve this really high level, they can kind of create their own world where they've been kind of being masters of themselves, and that's what I think makes them those amazing photographers. Also, what I've learned, and this is something which is really important, what I want to say, that somehow these people, they are kind of disconnected from, like, I don't want to say outside of the world, but they don't really take all the pressure we are getting nowadays from the outside world about everything what we do. Because, you know, I'm sure you guys are aware of that, and I'm sure you guys going through that on a daily basis, that we are being pushed, you know, through, for example, you know, those manufacturer companies. We've been pushed by society. We've been pushed by friends and clients, and everything. Everyone and everything has some kind of expectation from us, and we have to somehow digest that, and we have to, I would say, you know, incorporate this whole thing in our work. And I'm not going saying that we are getting squished, but we have a lot of influence from outside, and sometimes we just don't know how to deal with this because there's so much. And sometimes, you know, we're becoming just like slaves to the world we live in, and you know, we have to create stuff or create images which, you know, gonna meet those expectations from outside the world. And I think as soon as you start actually just disconnecting yourself from that pressure, from that push from outside, and you can fully focus on what you do, and you don't have to worry about, you know, what people are gonna say about your work. You're not gonna worry about, you know, what equipment do you have to use, or you don't have to worry about, you know, what kind of feedback you're gonna get. This is the place where you can really start creating interesting things, and you can really free yourself from, you know, this I would say insane pressure, which, you know, kind of like takes our work to completely kind of different way. And I found, talking to this photographer, that, you know, he has that ability. When he told me that, you know, like, he doesn't really care about, you know, he's got kind of vision, and he's following his kind of path. He's following his emotions, his feelings, his ideas. He actually just removed outside the world, and he's focusing fully on his work. And that's something which is, I believe, extremely liberating, something which allows you to kind of like focus on the concept, the ideas, and execute them, you know, and don't have that pressure and don't have that influence from, you know, everybody around us. So speaking of this, I just want to also add a little bit of something interesting to this, and give you a little bit of kind of way how we can achieve that. I'm on the path right now where I'm still learning this. This is something kind of completely new for me. I've been kind of trying to understand this a little bit more, and I've been really trying to, I would say, disconnect myself from that pressure and try to fully, you know, focus only on the stuff what I do, and don't listen to the outside of the world. And recently I started reading a very interesting book, and I want to share that with you because that might be something which can help you to achieve that, I would say, consciousness about your photography. And I know this is going to be sound a little bit funny, but let me explain and give you a little bit of detail. So I'm reading this book recently, which is called The Conscious Parent, and I know this is a book dedicated to parents, you know, who are having kids, and how to connect with the kids, how to deal with them. And this book is amazing. Like, I don't know if you guys heard about this person. Her name is Dr. Shefali. Amazing person. I would, again, highly recommend to dive into her world and the stuff what she's saying, because let me tell you, maybe from the kind of different perspective, even though this is the book dedicated to parents, but for me, photography is some kind of baby for me, you know, because everything what I produce, everything what I do, you know, I dedicated a lot of time and work into photography. So I found that, you know, this is a huge part of my life, and I have to be somehow connected with this entire entity. And I found that basically this is some kind of like baby for me. It's something extremely important. I pay a lot of attention to it, and a lot of those things from this book we can relate it to our photography, because that's the kind of connection we have to have in order to be successful. And she talks about this liberation of, you know, our mind, and just looking at this whole thing from completely different perspective. I don't want to give you a lot of details because I'm actually just halfway through that book, so I don't want to give you the full kind of like I would say feedback on it, but so far I've been reading is extraordinary. And actually she talks about, you know, this kind of conscious way of looking at the connection between, you know, in this case is the baby or the kid and the parent, and I think we can use the same kind of connection with photography. And I found this really exciting, and I think this is really amazing, and I highly recommend it to read this book because this book definitely gives you some kind of direction and a guideline how you guys can free yourself from all this pressure from outside and focus fully on photography and focus basically on, you know, the stuff what you're doing, about your progress, about your being creative and all those stuffs which makes you better photographer. So I think that's extremely important. I hope that wasn't boring for you guys, and I know I've been just jumping all over the thing, but I just want to share that with you because I think, you know, that's something that we have to somehow kind of think about. We have to do step back and just kind of look at what we do and kind of having bigger perspective and try to kind of like understand you know, this entire process of how this whole thing kind of works and how we can improve that, because as I said, we've been really and again, I'm repeating myself constantly, but this is just the kind of the main message of this, that, you know, we've been really pushed, and we've been there's a lot of influential things happening in our life that really kind of can put discourse on what we do. And I want to make sure that, you know, you guys can be not only on the right path, but also you can be true to yourself and, you know, be happy with what you do, because I've noticed that with that pressure, you know, we put a lot of things on our shoulders, and sometimes what happens is, you know, that's this pressure and everything what is happening from outside the world really put, I would say, bad impact on our work and slows us down, make us, you know, less confident. You know, we doubt what we do. And as soon as I think you can free yourself from all those negative emotions and negative feelings and kind of have full control on what you do, then you can become, you know, this amazing photographer who, you know, can create amazing work, but at the same time, like, you're not going to be worried about, you know, everything what is happening around you. Okay, I think that was interesting. I hope you guys have something. You guys gonna get something from this. Please feel free to, you know, share with me your comments, your you know, things which kind of also, I don't know, might add something to this topic. I would definitely like to hear from you guys. So wishing you guys fantastic weekend, fantastic photo shoots. Stay tuned, and I'll be chatting with you guys at the beginning of the next week. Bye bye now.